Good afternoon and welcome to CanadianAgMarkets.com. My name is Brian Como with Ireland Como Lafoy. Let's get into what is happening in the markets today. Canola up $4.40, settling at 701.80. Minneapolis wheat down 1.5 cents to 606 and a quarter. Kansas wheat down up a quarter of a cent to 551. Chicago wheat up half a cent to 545. Soybeans down today 2 3/4 at 10.59 and a quarter. Corn was up 1.5 to 485 and a half, and the Canadian dollar is trading still right around the lower end of 72 cents at 72.13. All right, before we get into the market update today, just wanted to say again, please subscribe to our insights. We'd love for you to subscribe to our insights. We actually have a weekly report coming out today that talks about this week's canola action, this week's soybean action. We get into some weather discussions. It's only $99 a month. You can cancel anytime. You get all of our stuff as a result, our morning updates, our weekly updates, our ad hoc updates, absolutely everything that we put out. We have 25 plus years of experience in market advisory and market analysis. So we like to think we know what we're talking about. So please subscribe to our insights and get those today by going to CanadianAgMarkets.com/subscribe. The link is also in the description below. All right, let's get into the market today. Canola. Let's talk about canola. It's been a hot topic this week. It broke above some resistance recently, making a new high on the July. The ultimate high of this week was 704. We did settle a little bit lower at 701.80. We do have an ultimate high here, a contract high of 711.70. Everyone is now setting their sights on there for the next run up. I do think today's action was relatively positive. I thought that there would be some profit taking. I think there was some profit taking earlier in the session in the morning. We actually saw some lower trade earlier in the morning, or very early in the overnights, actually, is when we hit that 704 high. We came down. I think there was some profit taking early in the session, and then we came back to finish the week on a high note over $700. I feel that that's positive, and I think that that momentum should carry us into next week. As long as there isn't any headlines that kind of kill the momentum here. But so far, this market looks like the trend is your friend. We should at least be able to get up into that 710 area, where many analysts and pundits have been talking for quite some time. So maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't know. But let's move to the November contract here, because I think there is some opportunity to take some action here as we move towards these previous highs. The ultimate high here, or the previous high, was at 665. We got to 664.40 today. So very good performance on the November. I think the November could be under a little bit more pressure. I think some of the strength that's coming into the front months of canola are because of some acute cash or physical shortages. November isn't gaining as much as the May and the July were through much of the last month. So these previous highs may actually be somewhat important. So you never lose money taking a profit. I think this is a good place to start layering in some sales, or at least getting some risk management strategies on. We talk about some of those risk management strategies in that weekly report. So if you want that, please subscribe to our insights as well. And you'll get our recommendations and things like that for strategies as we go forward in this marketplace. One of the reasons, and I wouldn't say the only reason, but one of the reasons why canola has been strong this week has been soybean oil. Soybean oil was kind of interesting today. We rallied up to above 51 cents, breaking a lot of previous resistance levels. As you can see here, yesterday we broke above this high, above 49.50. We got to 50. This is cents per pound, by the way, 50 cents per pound. It rallied up past 51 and then faltered into the close today. Not sure exactly what that's about at this point in time, as we are recording this right close to after the close, but it definitely lost some mojo, closed below 50 cents a pound. And, that's one of the things that has been keeping canola relatively strong, is the strength in bean oil, as part of the crush margin in canola is priced from bean oil. All right, let's move forward into soybeans. I like what happened in the soybean market today too. We saw a breakout yesterday above this kind of channel, not a major breakout by any stretch, but I think the move above the 200-day and the sustained move above the 200-day moving average here is important. I think also the 20-day moving average kind of trending higher is important. I think next week we'll start to see that break above some of these shorter term um, moving averages as well. This is a good market. There's some fundamental or headline reasons I think for this. One of them was that the trade war is cooling. It looks like, whether you call it fake news or not, it feels like China and the US are coming to the table to talk about trade, or they're at least cooling their jets a little bit on some of the tariff rhetoric, removing some tariffs, lowering some others, things like that. We also have Argentinian or an Argentina logistics issues with the low river levels. We talk about that in our weekly report as well. So make sure you check that out if you are one of our subscribers. But that's soybeans. I think overall positive, maybe a little bit more cautiously positive, but still a positive week for that. On the flip side, we got wheat. Wheat has suffered over the last week and a half or so of futures trade. The weather in many parts of the U.S. has gotten better. The weather in the Black Sea area has gotten better. That has affected wheat negatively. We do want to kind of show that in the hard wheats. Yesterday in this video, we kind of talked about this candle yesterday being a hammer candle, possibly signaling a bullish reversal pattern here. What I wanted to see today was a positive close in KC wheat. We didn't necessarily receive that. I would say this is more neutral. I would have liked to have seen this candle be green. At one point, it was trading, upwards of 557 or something like that on the July contract. That if it would have closed there, that would have been a nice positive move. But we did not. We kind of closed more neutral. So I would say there's still some risk in this market, even despite what looked like a bottoming pattern yesterday. So something just to be aware of there. As we move forward here, we wanted to talk a little bit about weather. The soil moisture situation in Western Canada isn't dire yet. It is a little bit dry, and maybe there's some kitchen window marketing on my part here. We haven't had significant amount of rainfall here in southern Manitoba in a while. Feels dry here. I know in the eastern part of Alberta, it might be a little bit different, but some of the parts of southern Saskatchewan are also on the drier side. We haven't had high enough temperatures yet, really, to remove a lot of that moisture from the soil. So that's kind of helping keep the soil moisture recording a little bit higher. I think as we get towards the as we get towards the beginning of May and temperatures start to rise, we might start seeing that become a concern. Here's the 7-day precipitation analysis. This is the GFS over the next 168 hours. And not a lot of rain coming into Western Canada at this point, and in some regions almost none, or very little. Nothing really to speak of. Maybe a quarter, half an inch in some areas of Saskatchewan, but very, very limited areas as well. So again, not a big concern at this point, but it is a watch out going forward, is just to see what kind of moisture that we are going to get here in Western Canada. As we all know, weather is one of the major drivers for the markets as we move through the spring. All right, I am rocking my Aviator Farms hat today, so thank you, Garth, for supplying that to us. We very much appreciate your business and your friendship. So have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you again next week.